Okay. And then one final thing we want to talk about,
Mm-hmm.
the music.
Yes.
Something I still find myself very affected by. So
Mm-hmm.
Becca, what you talked about music a little bit already in
Yeah, I
your
did.
social media side, but like what's going on music wise for you, formative?
Yeah. So I've mentioned all this before, but like 2000s pop, I was raised on.
Mm-hmm.
Britney, I love her so much.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I just love pop. My family is not really crazy about country, and I'm not really either, but I do love Carrie Underwood.
Mm-hmm.
So she's slay. Um, my dad sort of like introduced me to like the Beatles and stuff like that. But he also,
Mm-hmm.
my dad is one of those people who doesn't listen to music that often, but
Mm-hmm.
he he'll like get in the mood to listen to a song and then listen to
Mm-hmm.
it. And he also plays guitar and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But like he drives me to Pittsburgh sometimes from my house, which is a 5-hour drive, and doesn't listen to anything. I go, "Do you just think? What do you do?" He's like, "Yeah, I just focus on driving."
Don't you need something to distract you? Like what?
Literally, like,
That's
oh my
crazy.
God, just the sound of the
I'm a
road.
little scared of that.
Yeah.
Um,
But yeah, and then of course like Lana, the alternative stuff like
mm,
1975. And of course my one and true Ariana Grande.
mm.
I love her music so much. Yeah.
Yeah. Were you like a fan from like the beginning? Because she, of
I
course, like, because we saw her like ascension, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. I loved her in Victoria. She was always my
Mm,
favorite.
yeah.
I watched Sam and Cat for her.
Mm-hmm.
I loved
Sam
The
and Cat
Way.
had such a good theme song.
Yeah, it did. Also, another thing about my dad is that he like thinks all of Hollywood is creepy and every celebrity is blah 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
He respects only Tom Hanks and Ariana Grande because he thought Ariana Grande was really funny in Sam and Cat whenever she was like Abraham Lincoln. And he quotes her. She goes, "I can do it." And he quotes her like that.
Wow.
Yeah. Um yeah, I loved The Way. And then it took me a while to listen to Yours Truly and My Everything like as albums, but I
Mm,
always listened to her singles and stuff. And then I went back. And Sweetener is really when I was like, oh, this is my favorite
mm,
person, my favorite celebrity.
mm.
But yeah.
Yeah, she's always been that. It's weird because she's always had a power for like people to copy off of her.
Yes.
Like not copy off her, but like she started like she's been a trendsetter her whole career.
Mm-hmm. No, people do copy. Like there are so many. If anyone looks remotely like Ariana, they will do their hair in a ponytail and like do
Mm-hmm.
her makeup like that. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's crazy.
No, and like the red velvet hair, like I guess
Mm-hmm.
Rihanna did it before that character, but like yeah, like that was huge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and like everything about her, like the sweatshirts, yeah,
Yeah.
oversized sweatshirt and thigh high boots and a high pony.
And
It's a
she's so true
serve.
for
It's a
that. Mm-hmm.
serve. It's a
It's a
serve.
Halloween costume. Like if you have all
Yeah.
those elements, people do that. It's
Mm-hmm.
crazy.
1,000%.
Yeah.
I like that you brought up country music because while it wasn't something I was like thinking of, I did listen to a lot of country music when I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it was on this that I said this, but the band Sugarland was
Oh,
huge for me
yeah.
because my parents listened to it so much.
Mm-hmm.
And like now, like much like Supercut by Lord, I have an almost Pavlovian response to Baby Girl by Sugarland.
Mm-hmm.
And like whenever I hear it, I start like I want to cry. Like just thinking about it, I'm
Oh.
like I want to cry.
Oh my God.
Especially because now that I like live away from my parents, it like makes me think about them and like you
Oh.
know, yeah. So and Jennifer Nettles is just oh yeah, didn't I say that on the pod on this like Jennifer Nettles and Sarah Jessica Parker are the two
Their
people who
voices.
yeah their
Yeah.
voices I'm like um
Yeah.
and yeah I still listen to Jennifer Nettles sometimes and I'm like oh my god, there's so many. There's this other the very last country song. And then there's this one kind of really sad song. It's a little bit more upbeat. It's called Joey, and it's about like having a boyfriend who got into like a car accident and like died.
Oh my God.
And apparently, like the storyline is like, oh, they were at the same party, and like she was like he was drunk, and like it tells like a whole narrative, and like she was almost in the car with him, and like yeah,
That is something fun that country songs will do.
yeah, they tell a
They'll
story.
story tell. I
Yeah.
I listen to like old country, like
Mm-hmm.
Dolly and like Johnny Cash and stuff, but
Mm-hmm.
not this era of country that you're talking about.
Yeah, when it starts to get a little weird.
Mm.
Um, and so yeah, but country music was really big. Also, top 40, like just top 40 in general. Like I
Mm.
was super into. Like I was listening to Hits One on Sirius XM and just off book on whatever was coming on there. And like my parents were always like, oh, they just play the same five songs, but I liked that.
Yeah, I like the hits. My mom had those CDs that was like top 20 now or
Mm-hmm.
whatever,
Yeah.
which it's interesting because when streaming, like when Spotify and stuff came out, like she was
Mm-hmm.
still kind of buying those, and I'd be like, okay, these
Now that's
songs
what I
now
call
are like two
music.
months old. That's
Yeah.
what it was called. No, that's what I call
Mm-hmm.
music. Yeah.
That's crazy. Like Bad Guy by Billie Eilish is on like now that's what I call music, like 47 or whatever.
Oh my God.
No,
That,
and it's like also it's so different because I like now I have no idea what's popular like on like top 40 wise. I will look
yeah.
at the Billboard top 10 and maybe know like four.
Yeah.
Like I was like I've heard like I look at it and I've heard four of these songs, and now it's like people I haven't even heard of apparently having like the time. It's like it's one of those things that make you feel a little bit old, but also like streaming really democratized music in a way that like it wasn't when you and I were younger.
Yeah. I think it's just we now have the option to like listen to other things. So it's like,
Yeah.
why would you listen to what's definitely going to play at a middle school dance?
Yeah, and you had to like if you were gonna listen to that stuff, you had to go like out of your way.
Mm-hmm.
And you had to buy physical, like you had to buy music.
CDs. Yeah.
And so like whenever you would like or like even like before streaming when there was like downloading music, it's like
Yeah,
and
that's
then
true.
storage space, like you only had so much storage.
Mm-hmm.
And so you would have to like pick and choose what song is on your iPod at which time. And
But
so
getting an iTunes gift card like at
oh,
Christmas, so
oh,
good.
oh, it was the best thing.
I wonder if also like artists like would purposely release near that time so that their song would be bigger, like while kids had
Oh, I'm
iTunes
sure.
gift cards. That's interesting to
Oh,
think
I'm sure
about.
Christmas is a huge time for release.
Mm-hmm.
Just like how Pokemon. Oh, that was like a whole other thing we didn't talk about.
Pokemon
Um,
Go.
no, like
Huge.
I'm fully like I still play Pokemon as an adult.
Slay.
But I started like literally when I was like 7.
Wow.
And so but like Pokemon always releases their games in November, like right in time for the
Smart.
holidays.
Yeah.
And everybody gets and I got my first Pokemon game as a Christmas gift.
Yeah.
And so yeah, top 40. I remember all my favorite songs would be like just songs I like heard on Sirius XM. Also, classic rock. I have like quite a vocabulary for classic rock. My dad
Mm-hmm.
would play a lot of AC/DC.
Yeah.
My dad would play a lot of like everything. That's like where I got my appreciation for music because he was one of the first people, or not one of the first people, but like he had iTunes pretty early on. And so
Mm-hmm.
I think he used to burn CDs like onto iTunes. And
My
so
mom would do that.
yeah. And so he didn't like
Crazy.
physically buy things from iTunes like all the time because he could just put his like stuff he liked. And so I heard like there was always music playing in our house.
Mm-hmm.
Um and so yeah. And then but yeah, I remember ACDC. We used to have season tickets to University of Delaware games. And I remember like just driving to like go tailgate and like Highway to Hell was playing and it was like best
Yeah.
thing ever. What was it? My Balls, another another one. Um Another movie that I thought of was Animal House. I remember watching that with my dad.
Actually, I never have seen that.
Yeah, I don't think you would love it. I don't think
Well,
I would
I
love it on a rewatch either.
yeah. I know like every frat boy references it all the time.
Yeah, it's yeah.
Some probably good.
I'm sure I would utterly detest it if I watched it now.
Yeah.
Um, and then of course I've talked about it on here before. Lady Gaga.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she was huge for me too.
Did I tell the Lady Gaga story on this podcast about when like I realized I was a Lady Gaga fan?
Wait, I think you might have, but go ahead.
Again, it was my mom, because she was, you know, a horse girl, she's always had a pickup truck. And so one of her pickup trucks, or like for an era of my life, her pickup trucks didn't have a back seat. They just had 3 seats across the front. And
Mm-hmm.
so there would be like a middle seat instead of a center console in like the front seat. And so I remember it was my mom driving, obviously. It was me in the middle seat and then my brother in the passenger seat. Bad Romance comes on the radio. First couple times you hear the song, you're not going to get it. Second, third time, it's like, whoa, what is this new music? It's like something you've never heard on the radio before.
Mm-hmm.
And like that was literally like Bad Romance. Like Lady Gaga had hits before that, but like Bad Romance changed the game.
Yeah, it really did.
Like the rah rah ah ah. And then a couple of days later, my brother was like, and you know, sibling rivalry was a big thing.
Mm-hmm.
And my brother was like, Quinn, didn't you think like when we heard that song the other day, like the rah rah, like, don't you think that was kind of weird? I looked at him and I said, no, Liam, I actually really like that song. And that was like one of my first acts of defiance.
Yeah.
And I was like, and from that on, I've been like Little Monster.
Uh-huh.
Um, and yeah, Lady Gaga was just, yeah, like Ariana like it's just so like formative, especially like the Born This Way album too.
So good.
Like like that was like Born This Way was so ubiquitous. Like all the singles, You and I,
Just
Americano,
Dance.
Born This Way, yeah, Edge of Glory, like so much. Oh, did I ever tell you about my school's lip sync competition?
No.
So like pre RuPaul's Drag Race, my school would host a lip sync
Oh my God.
where you could do like you could lip sync to songs and like make a routine. And so I did it in the first grade with a group because one of my friends was doing it. And then after that, I got like the bug for it and I did it solo for 2 years. And then fourth grade, my whole like a bunch of kids from my fourth grade class, like there were like 15 of us. We all got together because groups were definitely preferred.
Yeah.
Like groups were definitely given preference and stuff. And we did Born This Way by Lady Gaga. And like me and
Wow.
this other girl were like the main characters of the performance. And
It
like I
sounds like a Glee moment.
no, literally. And I came out in the middle and I gave like everything. I was wearing this mask. I still have it. It's like a Cirque du Soleil mask. Oh my God. My mom, or I don't know if it was my mom or the other mom who was like running it. I had this like black t-shirt. They got like this bedazzled, like, because it was a lot of like Christian imagery at the time. And so like they like bedazzled like cross. And
Oh my
let me tell you
God.
something, we won. And
Yeah, you did.
the winners of the lip sync got to like they got to perform again on the last day of school for like the whole school.
Oh my God, that's so fun.
Yeah. And then we did Edge of Glory in the fifth grade, and then
Oh
we didn't
wow.
win.
Dang.
So yeah.
My
But
my
yeah.
school did talent shows, and I will say that my brother, when he was in third grade, did or second grade, did do a rendition of Kesha's Blow. And he lip syncs for his life. And actually, his teacher was like, Evan, don't you think that his teacher added two girls to his routine as little background dancers, and he fired them. He said, actually, they distract from my performance, so I need them gone.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Everything I hear about Evan Hobart, I'm like, I
It's
love.
crazy. Seriously. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, so
Yeah.
Lady Gaga was like it for me.
Hmm.
I remember I remember I was in high school when Joanne came out because I fell off during art pop because I didn't have the critical taste back then. Um
Okay.
and now of course art pop is like my everything.
Yeah.
And I wish she would return to that kind of music. But yeah, and I remember when Joanne came out, I remember being like a Joanne defender. I was like, guys, it's not boring, which it's not.
Hmm. It's not.
Um and so yeah, and I think it's just I think she also just had such a profound impact on like who I am, like how truly kooky and crazy and like because something I find so interesting about her now is like she is exactly what like the beginning of her career like set out to critique.
Yeah.
And so it's almost like I go back and forth with her. I'm like, what if one day she just comes out and she's like, guys, this has all been a part of my experiment.
Yeah. I've been fibbing.
No, because like especially because she lives like a pretty private life. And so
Yeah.
like she could fully just be like, guys, like when I like the Star is Born era, the 100 people in the room, I was pranking y'all.
I got you.
But I could also like it's honestly just as likely as she has like bought into it now, and she's like it's like a so it's an interesting like character study, and like she has become what she initially set out to like not even critique but like discuss,
Yeah. Yeah.
because she was
Like we.
never saying like fame wasn't a good thing, but she was always interested by the idea of fame.
Hmm.
She's very Warholian, like
Yeah.
mm-hmm,
Yeah. I feel like she was more of like a caricature, and now she's like just what
mm-hmm.
it actually is. I don't know. I
Because
mean, I love her.
she's had everything of like a star. She's had like the super big moment. She's had she's the literal like epitome of like a star. Like
Hmm.
she had the crazy ascension where she was like the biggest person in the world, and
Hmm.
then she flopped, quote
Hmm.
unquote, and then she had like a back to her roots phase, and then she became the biggest person on earth yet again.
Yep.
It's crazy to think that like there were two separate times in her career where she was like the most famous person alive.
She deserves it.
Yeah. Yeah,
Did
I
you
don't
ever
know.
get to try a Chromatica Oreo?
Yes, I have them on my fridge in the back. That's a Chromatica
Oh,
Oreo. I tried the minis. I never got a big thing. I was
okay.
actually looking through I don't know if anybody else does this, but I love looking through my camera roll at least like once a quarter
Oh, me too.
and
It's how
just
I remember
reliving
things.
and just oh yeah, that's exactly because like I remember I was going through stuff for the catch up and I like looked through my camera roll today.
Yeah, it's how I
Um,
remember what I
but I
did.
have like such funny things in my camera roll. I tweeted this week. I was like, I view my camera roll as the equivalent to the Library of Alexandria. Something to that effect.
Which never
Um,
burned.
which never burned, as much like a documentary. I showed you something you don't know on the podcast, but yeah, my mom, she sent me. It was like because Chromatical Oreos came out, and then it took a second for them to become like a meme.
Yeah.
Like they launched at like a certain point, and then like it took like a month or two for everybody to be like, wait, what?
I think maybe people were worried that it was going to be the Star is Born drink thing again.
Yeah.
So,
A
but
Star
these
is
were
Born
real.
box, yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
A
and
Star is
so
Born box.
yeah, and
That was
so
crazy.
oh my god, could you imagine? You should have worked at Starbucks during that era.
I would have literally definitely
You would have
gotten
given people free
violent.
drinks.
Oh my god. Oh my god. I can't imagine how annoying that was.
Oh my god.
I feel actually bad for the people who worked then.
Oh my god. Yeah, but yeah, I did try a Chromatical Oreo. They're just the vanilla Oreos,
Yeah,
which
I
I
liked them
enjoy.
though. They were on my fridge too, which is so. Did you see those ever on my
Yes,
fridge?
yeah, because you
Yeah,
guys
okay,
had a
yeah.
big box, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I guess I never
Funny.
really saw a big box out, but I literally got those at a rest stop
Oh,
on my
slay.
way back to school one time, and I saw them and I was like,
Gotta get it.
hmm yeah.
True.